Hello, Rama Rama Pupodu. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, relaxed, peaceful. Now let's go to chapter 22. Gohkar Parvati, Reckless Activity. Ramdas arrived at Jhansi. At the station, he was welcomed by Ram Kinkar and Mahadev Prasad. The latter embraced him and wept through joy on beholding him once more. He was put up again at Arkamba. After 2 or 3 days' stay, he left Jhansi in the company of Ram Kinkar and Chedilal, also an earnest and loving soul. The Mahoba friends were intimated by wire of his coming. So about a dozen of them, including Ram Charandas, were eagerly looking for the arrival of the train at the Mahoba station. On alighting, the party was enthusiastically welcomed by the friends and were led to the city. And for the night, they occupied the Mahavira's temple situated outside the town on the way to Gohkar Parvati. Next day, they ascended the Parvat and reached the caves in which he had lived on a former occasion. A Brahman boy named Kallu undertook to cook for him, and Jagannath supplied provisions. 2 or 3 days later, a sannyasi, Bhagavan by name, whom he had seen before in Chitrakot Pilikoti ashram in the Mela of sannyasis during the Ram Navami festival, came to stay with him. Bhagavan was a pure-hearted and simple sadhu, extremely quiet and taciturn. His great love for Ramdas made him stick to the place. Ram Charandas was of course there. For nearly 4 months, Ramdas lived on those hills, in the company of devotees who used to come in large numbers from the surrounding villages. Ramdas would dance to the loud and measured repetition of Ram mantra. The whole stay there was a period of unique spiritual ecstasy. He would feel when about 50 men dancing with the sweet music of God's name, as though the whole universe was dancing too. Dance for hours did not in the least fatigue him. Bhagavan, who was not till then accustomed to dancing, also joined them. Whoever newly came to the hills could hardly resist dancing. God's name resounded through the hills, producing an atmosphere pregnant with blissful thrills. In the nights, some devotees who possessed sweet voice sang to the beats of a hand drum, songs of Kabir and Banarasi. The kirtan would proceed far into the night, till 2 or 3 early morning. Ram Kinkar, finding the hills inspiring, especially when he was told that tigers roamed about in the nights, refused to stay with him and returned to the town with the visitors from the place. Within 3 or 4 days, his leave having expired, he left for Jhansi. Chedilal continued his stay for a week, and at the expiry of which he also returned to Jhansi. He had remained on the hills day and night. Ramdas was, during the day time, like a frisky monkey. He could not stand quiet. He would either dance or run. When he was not engaged in dance, he would run up the surrounding tall hills like a squirrel. He used to feel his body extremely light, and the divine Shakti was coursing through his frame like lightning current. When he reached the top of the hill, he would cry out in a high pitch, Hari Om, and the sacred syllables would reverberate through the hills. Every hill would echo back the sound of Hari Om in a distinct and ready response, filling the air with rapturous harmony. Ramdas would be followed in his race uphill by Ram Charandas, Jagannath, and 1 or 2 others. The ascents were perilous, and few dared to follow him. While descending, it was not by creeping down that he would come to the bottom. He would jump from one rock to the other. At times, he would recklessly take leaps over 50 feet, but every time he alighted on the lower rock safe on all fours like an ape. Life and body were held by him light as straw. In spite of the incessant activity to which he subjected his body, he never knew exhaustion. He was as fresh and vigorous as ever. In the wanderings on the hills with his friends, he once came upon a gigantic stone image of a three-headed god leaning against the side of a hillock. The ruins around showed that in olden days there was a temple here for the huge stone idol. He was urged from within to climb to the head of the image, which he did with lightning rapidly, and on the broad crown of his head he danced with untold delight. The party had another addition of a Vaishnava saint, Vaishnath. He would remain at the base of the cave with a fire before him, telling his beads all the night. One of his disciples, an elderly mother, would come to the hills during the afternoons and entertain them with the charming songs of Mirabai. Her devotion was so great that when she sang, tears of ecstasy would course down her cheeks, and her face would be aglow with the spiritual light. The devotees hoisted on the hillock on which Ramdas lived a gigantic flag 10 feet by 10 feet containing in big Hindi characters the Ram mantra Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. The flag was visible for miles from the hills. It was a dark night. The rain was pouring and the air was chill. About 10 o'clock, when the party of singers were deeply engaged in kirtan and Ramdas was occupying the small interior cave, a young, educated, and well dressed man turned up with an escort. Coming to Ramdas, he fell at his feet and said, Swamiji, I am on my way to Kaunpur from Shatarpur. I heard of you and have come for your darshan, having broken down at Mahoba. Pray have your kripa on me. He received from Ramdas then and there the Upadesh of Ram Mantra. When all were silently sitting, three big centipedes appeared on the scene. They were moving about freely. A lantern was burning in the center of the group. One of the centipedes approached the young man whose name was Ramachandra Gupta. He was shrinking from it when Ramdas asked him not to be afraid of it and assured him that it would do no harm. One of them actually passed over the lap of Ramdas in a quite friendly manner. Shortly after this, Ramachandra left. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupoda.